Hi, it's Louisa Dahl, and welcome to the Interactive Minds podcast, where I talk with passionate marketers, innovators, and digital leaders about their specific recipes for success. In today's show, I interview Simon Clarke from Motorama. Here's 3 things you're going to learn. 1, how to manage a distributed social media team. 2, how you can use Google My Business to drive high-quality traffic. And 3, why Motorama's CEO receives every customer review. Let's get into it. Today I'm here with Simon Clarke, who is the Group Marketing Manager at Motorama Group. Simon has been in the marketing industry for over 17 years and has spent 8 years now at Motorama. Welcome to the show, Simon.
Hey, how are you doing?
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for joining us today. I know you've had a long career history in the marketing industry. If you had to describe your career to date in 1 or 2 sentences, what would you say?
I think I've had the best of both worlds. I've worked factory side and I've worked the retail side. So I've seen the franchise model, I guess, from both angles, which has been quite interesting.
Fantastic. And over your 17 years in the marketing industry, what would you say were some pivotal points in your career?
Well, I think one was probably the GFC. When that came back in 2007-8, we basically had to restructure our entire sponsorship portfolio to adjust to the changing environment, probably similar to what's happening current state. So that was one really interesting piece. And the other one for me as well was, as I alluded to before, actually I worked for Toyota at the sort of factory level, and then I moved into the retail side of the business, working through a dealership, which is Motorama. So it was really quite interesting to see the different focus from a marketing perspective of working at a manufacturer level to then working very much on the ground in the trenches and, really trying to push a specific brand out there.
Yeah, sounds like a great variety of experiences and coming at it from different angles. Tell us what your current role involves.
Yeah, at the moment I kind of do a little bit of everything. So the Motorama Group is actually quite large. We started out just as several new car franchises. We've then added to businesses probably over the last 5 to 7 years. We've created a Motorama pre-owned brand. We've added a car brokerage, another standalone used car dealership. We've added a finance brokerage. So we've added a bunch of other businesses that are all complementary to the existing Motorama sort of suite of brands. So a bit of brand management, a bit of brand creation has been quite interesting. We also focus a lot around customer experience, how we can amplify that customer experience to customers to build credibility. We do a lot around content creation as well. So we've created over 100 videos, 300 or so blogs on all things automotive, from how to service your car to improve its resale value, through to tips on using your car better, to inspiring customers on where they can take their vehicle and how to do it the best way. So we try to find content that we can then use and serve to customers throughout their sort of ownership journey. Because in the automotive world, you spend a lot of time, you spend a lot of investment in time in buying the car, and then we want to try and work out and really stay close with the customer through that ownership journey of them getting their car serviced. And if we can sort of do all the servicing, you generally put yourself in a very good position to be first on the shopping list when they come to renewing the car.
Yeah.
So it's sort of that whole of life ownership experience, and just trying to stay relevant and stay connected to the customer through that whole piece, rather than just going, it's time for a service and we see you every 9 months. It's trying to just have some way of being relevant to the longer journey.
Yeah, great. And what does the marketing team look like with you?
We're actually pretty light here. We outsource a lot and leverage off a number of different agencies. We've got a digital content resource in-house. We've got a graphic designer, but a lot of it is working with with each of the different dealerships, trying to and leveraging some of their marketing ability as well. But the challenging one for us really is around social media. So we've created a program internally within the business to try and develop best practice social media. Certainly in a large automotive group, it's very difficult for a centralised marketing function to really have a good handle on every individual dealership or store's social media usage and platform. So we've actually created our own program to encourage people within the retail environment to use social media in a way that we think is best practice.
Yeah.
And for example, that includes making sure they're creating engaging content. Are they boosting it? Are they boosting it to the right audience? Are they tagging customers in delivery photos? There's a bit of a social proof of, and trying to humanise the car dealership experience. We've now sort of branched them out into Instagram because they go, oh, we want to be on Instagram. So we've now incorporated that program to include Instagram. We've got Google My Business, which is now becoming really important, and we're seeing big gains within our business as well. So we've got Google My Business in there, as well as customer reviews. So it started out just as a Facebook play many years ago, and funnily enough, as social media has evolved, we've added more platforms to the program. So
yeah, awesome. That sounds great. And how many dealerships are you dealing with?
last I looked, we got about 20 stores.
And they all then kind of have a localized social media presence, I suppose.
Yeah, we call it a champion. So it's a social media champion that's in each store, and the team basically work with the champion to try to catch up with them once a month, have it run through a bit of a plan. We have an assessment criteria that we use to sort of rank them and give them a score out of 100, and then we basically average that score out over the year to see how they go. Because as you know, what about social media is about being consistent and being sort of on the ball the whole way. So trying just to keep them up the whole time rather than just we had to go for 3 weeks, it was great, and then they fall off. So
yeah. Do you share that ranking amongst the different dealerships, or is that something you kind of manage at HQ?
No. The power of the ego within the automotive business is quite strong. So we love to share that and rank you from top to bottom, and it always makes for an interesting general managers meeting when you pull out the rankings, and you've got some that are absolutely smashing it and others that on their third month in a row are barely registering a score. So it makes for an interesting performance discussion with those guys. But it's actually taken a fair bit of education, to be honest, with that general management layer around social media and its importance. And it's always an ongoing piece. You can never sell a car through Facebook, but we're now seeing more and more inquiry, softer inquiry, not the traditional inquiry. We traditionally in our industry measure, they walk in the door, they make a phone call, they make an email, or they send us an email inquiry. We're now seeing a stack of different levels of conversation and questions coming in. We might put up a real hero shot of a car onto social media, and suddenly we get people asking, have you got any of these in stock? How much are they? And it just starts the conversation in a very non-traditional way than what we used to, because we used to getting a very official, it's a phone call, so they're ringing about a car. Now customers seem to be making a lot more softer inquiries. I really like the look of that car. Have you got any in stock? How much? What is it? And each brand's slightly different. Some of the customer demographics are quite varied. So the Kia Seltos, which uses the Billie Eilish song, which is pretty topical at the moment, is probably the one car that we put that on Facebook or we put it through our social channels, and the amount of chatter and feedback you get is just insane. Like, it's just one of those cars that have just really hit the mark with that demographic that seems to be, wanting to know more about it.
Fantastic. And I mean, we know how often social media changes. When you guys are kind of champion social media within the organisation, how do you stay across the latest changes, and then how do you communicate those out?
Yeah, that's a really good question, because the scariest part is when we sit down at the start or normally the end of a year and try to work out a matrix for 12 months worth of social media. What's to say that what we're measuring today is actually going to be relevant come 9 months' time, because the algorithm changes and suddenly, video's out and something else is in. So it's is extremely difficult. And we have the right, because we make up the program. So if something changes, we basically just communicate that to people and say, look, this actually doesn't work really anymore, and now you need to skew your business from doing this, or we're not giving you any points if you do this to moving to this. And, probably the big one from the start was, it was all about the number of likes that your Facebook page had. But pretty soon that became irrelevant as to the number of likes you had. So, with dealerships out there going, yeah, I've got so many likes. It's like, yeah, mate, it doesn't really matter. Like, it's not important anymore. What do you mean? So it's just doing that ongoing education. There's a lot of I guess, conferences and industry information that comes around that you just try and sort of latch onto to try to understand what's changing, and then looking at it and how you can adapt that to the business.
Yeah, yeah. What are the social media metrics that you see as being important at the moment and that you're tracking as part of that measurement?
Well, some of the stuff that we're looking at now is really trying to educate our guys that it's all pay to play. Like, it's great to go out there and create some good content, but if you're not actually paying to boost it, then what's really the point of you creating the content? Like, you'll get a little bit of organic reach, but certainly nothing that's worth the effort. So we're trying to get them to think about what's the audience, first of all, that you're trying to talk to, and then what's the message, rather than the other way around. When people think, oh, this is what I want to say, but who are you actually saying that to? And the power that we've actually got some really good databases of customers. So, we can look at, I've got something I want to talk to ute owners about. We know across our group every customer that's bought a ute in the last 3 years. So we go out, we grab that ute database, we upload it into the back end of Facebook and boost the content about a ute to all the ute buyers that we know that we have or that we've serviced in the last 12 months. So we've been finding that's been a really effective tool to actually get traction, because you get a way better, conversion rate, a way better engagement from those customers that we know fit the demographic of the car.
Yeah.
Or the message. So it's really just thinking audience first, and work out your audience, and then work out what you want to tell them.
Yeah, perfect. And you mentioned that Google My Business is going well for you as well. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, Google My Business is, I think it's one of the hidden sleepers in the marketing arsenal that it sort of ticks away in the background, and if you don't give it any love, you probably don't get a lot back from it. But one of the strategies we've worked on really hard in the last sort of 18 months has really been around, firstly, improving the in-store experience. So coming to buy a car is never normally regarded as a great customer experience piece, and we're trying to always look at the ways that we can set the standard that we set within the business as being beyond the expected. How have we exceeded the expectation? And the manufacturers are all pretty good in that space, and that they always are driving us through CSI reports and the like, just to try to understand the experience. But what we were finding was it was great. So in our world, the manufacturer, so a Ford or a Holden, will come in, they'll run a survey and ask their customers what they thought, and then they go, oh, great, they said you were 9 out of 10. And then the manufacturer just sits on that information and actually does nothing with it other than to rank us to go, well, you're delivering a good experience. And we're kind of going, well, that's great, but what about the actual customer in the real world who's out there, who's on Google going, well, which Ford dealership in Brisbane should I go and buy my car from? So what we were really trying to do was looking at how could we own that local search, and we'd all do it. Like, if I go to somewhere new and I'm trying to work out where's the best pizza place, I'm not going to walk down the street and just aimlessly look. I'm probably going to go onto Google and say best pizza place near me. And up comes a 3-pack of responses, which is based on the number of reviews and the score and the recency, etc. And there's a number of different parameters that work out whether or not you appear in the 3-pack within Google. And we've been working with our agency, I guess, to optimize our listing, and also with our stores to deliver a good experience, to try to generate lots of real, genuine customer reviews that we can then put into the Google space, which helps us to actually rank organically really well and rank locally. So we're trying to say we want to own that, the whole piece around being the number one Ford dealer in Brisbane, for example. And how can we do that? And so we actually use a program to help us do that called Podium. And Podium lets you send an SMS to a customer that lets them choose which third-party site they want to leave a review with. So at the moment, we either get them to leave a review in Google or in Facebook. And it actually registers the customer straight into that particular platform rather than having to, go through and re-log in. If you're already logged in on your phone, you can just send it as an SMS and in it goes. So it's actually proven to be a really powerful way that we can manage the process of generating more of those reviews and then amplifying them through having the better Google My Business listing. So that's been really good. And we've also been just looking at how we can optimize the listing. So making sure, I guess, from a pure SEO play that, the phone number, the address, everything matches back to your own website, just so that Google doesn't see any gaps between, different numbers or whatever, matching your opening hours. So some of the real simple stuff. But Google seems to be letting you play a little bit more in that space. You can now add offers into Google My Business. So if you've got a business offer, you can add that in, which is pretty cool. And you can also just upload photos in there as well. So it's almost like another extension of Facebook in that if you keep adding content to the Google My Business listing, Google tends to reward you a bit in the algorithm, is what we feel happens. So we've done a number of modifications to it, and we had a big spike of actions taken and appearing in searches in, I think it was June, and then we made even more changes. In October, we just went up another 30% again. And what our analytics shows us is that Google My Business traffic is really good traffic because, if you think search intent, the reason that I'm on Google My Business is because, or the reason I'm in Google is because I'm searching for something. I'm not just on Facebook flicking through videos and photos. I'm actually on Google to do something with intent. And we find that if we can get into the 3-pack of the map, and then we can appear really well, and we've got hundreds of reviews, and we're in the 4-star range, then we're certainly putting our best foot forward to be that first point of call to get on the shopping list.
Yeah. So how often are you planning now to update those listings if you're finding that's having a good effect for you?
So part of that social media program I talked about, one of the inclusions this year has been all around making sure that our local brands, our local stores are actually updating photos, for example, in Google My Business. They've always got an offer that's in Google My Business. So just doing some real simple stuff. But I've been there a couple of times a week just tweaking listings because they're always giving you, reviews and updates and stuff. So it's it's just one that you kind of got to be across and just keep adding photos to it and just keep looking at it. And we just sort of have a look at how we scale that over, every month, how we're tracking. So it gives some really good intent as to where people are actually coming from.
Yeah. And do you ever incentivize your reviews, or do you find that kind of simply sending out that request is enough?
No, we don't pay to play in the review space. We just and it's quite interesting because we actually we've got a few processes in place where we try to get the salespeople to send the review directly to the customer. Usually face-to-face is better. If I start having that conversation with you about, hey, it'd be great if you could leave a review, and I can generally tell if you've had a good experience or not, which is really quite powerful. But we have occasions where the process might fall over for a month in the dealership and they don't send any reviews out, but they've actually generated 5 from customers that have felt that positive about the brand that they've actually left a review.
Right.
So...
Okay.
Which creates another opportunity. Like, do you realise if you had of us, so you sold 20 cars and you got 5, and you sent no requests, but you got 5 reviews in, kind of tell you that you're doing a good job. Imagine if you actually asked for 20 reviews, you might actually get 20.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's a good, really good, really healthy sign when you're generating reviews that come in that you haven't even asked for.
For sure, definitely. And what percentage of traffic do you think you would be getting through the Google My Business now, or what percentage of search traffic maybe? If you know any of those.
I'd say it'd be probably 25 to 30%.
Okay.
Of organic traffic comes through Google My Business, so it's pretty chunky, but it's really high converting traffic too. So we in the automotive world we can deal with people who might need a service of their car or are looking to buy a car, etc. So we've got, there's two different points of why they might be contacting us. So, we do find that it's just really good, high converting traffic. And that's probably what drew us to it, is looking at the numbers and the data going, wow, we're getting a lot from Google My Business. First, let's measure it. So we put a UTM code on it just to measure the amount of traffic coming from Google onto our site. And then once you can track it, you can measure it and go, wow, that's actually really powerful. We need to get more of it. So that's when we started exploring with our agency how we can just keep optimizing that listing. And probably the best thing about Google My Business is it's a really simple platform to use. Like, you don't need training in how to update it. There's some few little tweaks about how many words to write here and there, but as a whole, it's a really intuitive and easy platform to use. And it's actually a platform that a lot of our general managers can really understand.
Yeah.
So as opposed to, Facebook, which has got the algorithm and a few different, caveats to it, and it's pay to play, Google My Business is actually a really quite simple tool to use and to explain the value that it brings to the business. So
yeah,
which
perfect.
is really helpful for a marketer.
That's right. So if you're listening to this and you haven't been using Google My Business, it sounds like it's something you definitely need to go and play with and that you can get up and running pretty quickly.
If you haven't already, put a UTM code on and just have a look at how much traffic you're getting, because it'll be quite surprising, and just have a look at how well it converts the traffic as well.
Yeah.
Because it's quite good.
Yeah, perfect. And now you also mentioned another thing you've been doing or spending a bit of time on is your Facebook group. Can you tell us how you use your Facebook group and what you've been doing in this space?
Yeah, we do a couple of things with Facebook. So we've found it really useful, as I said, because we've got this sort of 20-odd social media champions out within our dealership and within the retail group. It's really hard to communicate to all those guys and show them, hey, check out this really good piece of content that we saw XYZ brand do. So we decided that if we created an internal group, it was actually a really good way to start sharing some of the creatives that you see within the Facebook environment, but also to see it as they would see it. Like, so rather than taking a screenshot of a video, you can actually share the video and watch the whole thing and look at the graphics and how it plays out and how it's been put together.
Perfect.
And we also find it's really helpful just to explain to our graphic artists, hey, I want you to create me an ad that looks like this. And rather than trying to take a still of it, she can actually see, oh, look, it's animating and it's got this happening and that happening. Oh, yeah, I can recreate that. And so it's actually just a really simple way. And everyone's on Facebook, and groups have become a lot more prominent in one of the buttons that you can see. Like, you pretty much have really good reach. So we took the idea of, well, if it works for us for internally, what if we actually then tried an external customer group that again was a bit of a private group that we could try communicating to. So we have one of the things within our business is we create a 4x4x more group, which is customers who have purchased a 4x4 from us or are currently servicing their 4x4 with us. And they're really highly engaged customers. So we decided that we would create this external Facebook group just for them. Got about 1,500 members in there, and the reach and the engagement is phenomenal. So you don't actually have to, at the moment, pay to promote your post. So you can put it in there and you get actually a really good reach, because depending on how your Facebook's set up on your mobile, there's now actually a groups tab. And if you click on your groups tab, you just only see content that's come through out of those groups, which is, a lot more targeted to you because you've joined the groups for various reasons, because it's in your sort of arc of interests and likes and whatever. We just finding we're getting a really strong engagement and a really good reach for pretty much low cost.
Yeah.
For no cost.
So you're finding that...
I'm sure Facebook's going to make a boost into our own group shortly, but for the short term, it's been really good.
And you're finding that the group's engagement within, what you're doing is pretty good and pretty active?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And then because it's a bit of for us, it's a group that's like a loyalty group. So you had to have purchased or transacted with Motorama to be in the group. So it's we have some questions that they have to answer to get into the group, etc. So we can basically vet who's in there, because we just don't want anyone in there. We just want our customers, and we can ask for their rego number or whatever, and we can vet them through our CRM program to make sure that they are an actual customer. But then when we're running events and we only invite our Motorama customers to our events, we then create an event just within the group. So we don't have to go and run the risk of people coming from outside of the business, etc.
Yeah.
So it's just a really good way to kind of have a loyalty program that's on a device that most people are using anyway. How do you, everyone's on Facebook rather than sending we still do use EDMs as well at certain points because not every customer's on Facebook, particularly in that four-wheel drive demographic. There's a few gaps, but as a tactic of covering people who are socially active, it's a really good way. And then we also use an EDM as well to talk to those customers.
And what would be the frequency of your posts in that group as a company?
Look, we really only do it when the customers stop posting. So the customers are then actually really good because they'll start posting content in there. So it actually becomes like they become the content machine, which is kind of utopia in a marketing world.
Definitely.
And if we notice it's gone quiet, we go, we better put some content in to, inspire them or do whatever. So the Facebook group for us really complements what we do with the 4x4 Club, in that we run monthly events to different locations within southeast Queensland. So we might go to Moreton Island, we might take 25 customers to Moreton Island or to Double Iron Point or out to Killarney or something to help educate them on how to use the car. And then what they do is they'll then post up into the Facebook group going, I had an awesome day out with Motorama. We went here, here's us, here's 10 photos of us on the beach doing this. Never done it before. It was amazing. Which then just becomes a marketing tool for the next tour because then everyone's like, I really want to go. When's the next one coming? Yeah. So it actually becomes a self-fulfilling content piece, which is actually really, really helpful.
Do you post any other kind of sales-related content in the group?
No, not really. We might occasionally. We run a ute stampede where we basically create an offer for if you purchase a ute, but generally not. We're generally just talking about, hey, check out this new model four-wheel drive that's just launched. So we might do soft stuff, or hey, we've just taken on the Jeep brand within Motorama and we had a launch of one of their Gladiator ute the other day. So we put in there that the Gladiator ute was coming because it's highly relevant to them. So, it's a perfect spot to try to get them interested in another four-wheel drive brand that they might be thinking of. But generally we wouldn't be pushing sales. We might push an event or we might push a new model, but that's really it.
Yeah. Okay, excellent. Now, you've told us a bit about some of the social media tactics and areas that you play in. Looking ahead for the year, what kind of tactic or campaign are you most excited about?
Look, I think for us, it's really trying to consolidate and lock in a solid process around review generation, which isn't that exciting, but if you can get consistent reviews coming into the business and, largely ours are positive, but you do get occasional negative ones, it's actually a really good way just to, get your finger on the pulse as to what's happening within the business and how each of the different brands or retail stores are actually handling customers. And probably the best thing that we ever did was when we got our CEO to receive every customer review that comes into the business. So that was super powerful because other than every manager ringing me going, what have you just done? Any bad review was literally being sent to the manager and he's saying, what happened here? Can you give me your version of the story? And so it actually was really quite powerful just because they knew that someone else was watching. I mean, getting a review, in a Google world or a Facebook world, there is basically other people watching, and that's what we try to educate our people is, look, it's part of the response is to the customer, but part of the response is to actually show other people that you actually care. So that, you see all the time when you look at hotels and someone always has a bad experience, but most of the time I'm reading the response from the manager going, okay, well, he cares, he's listened, I'd be happy to stay there even though, the customer gave a 1-star review. So part of that is just educating them that that's the process.
So does your CEO still get all those reviews?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. It's part of the process.
Yeah, absolutely. So now using the podium system, it's actually a lot clearer as to who people, and people are now, customers are now actually naming staff in a positive way. Which goes both ways, right? So CEO goes, yeah, Simon Clarke, he delivered me this car, it was fantastic. And then usually they name about 6 other people that all helped in the process. And that's also super powerful because they actually, A, they bought the car, B, they remembered your name, C, they actually wrote down your name, and then fourthly, the CEO saw it and goes, wow, these guys are creating a great customer experience. So, it's just super powerful as well. And don't get me wrong, the CEO's not always just picking up the bad one. If he gets a good one, he sends it out and says, well, congratulations, that's fantastic that, you guys are living the Motorama values or whatever. And it's also super rewarding as well when you know that you've really worked on a process within the business about trying to make purchasing a car super easy. You've done all these things and the customer comes back and tells you exactly that. But in a way that you could never have written it. As good a copywriter as I may be or our agency could be, we look at these reviews and go, wow, how do they write it so well? They're just so genuine and so articulate. It's just beautiful.
Yeah, just what you want.
So we call them our marketing gold nuggets that come through.
Fantastic.
When the customer rewrites, tells you your process in a better way that you can describe it yourself. It's like,
sure.
Oh, wow, nailed it. Yeah.
And what do you do about the negative reviews? How do you handle them?
Look, our response is we always will respond to the review. Generally our rule is to try to take it offline and sort it out. And as I said, a lot of our general managers are really proactive in getting in there and being that sort of front line and really trying to understand and resolve the problem, which is super impressive that, they all step up and take it incredibly serious. On occasion, we always get, you always get the review of someone that just has had a really bad experience and, it tends to be that like 5 things have happened. And occasionally, our guys will actually write back but write it in a really detailed, non-emotive way about, well, actually, yeah, thanks for your feedback. This is actually what happened, and actually try to outline the story without, trying to apply any bias. But we'll actually try and respond, but respond in a way that actually half talks to other people as well to go, look, well, we actually were serious in trying to fix this car and this is the steps we took. And, so it's horses for courses. Each of the GMs that manage their reviews within the business all respond in a slightly different way. But we're certainly not afraid of bad reviews. I mean, they actually make, I think, your reviews seem more real when you have bad ones, and that's the ones you got to watch. It's like, wow, they got 400 reviews and they're all 5-star. I'm sorry, no business can be all 5-star reviews. They're obviously either paying for reviews or they're filtering out the bad ones. So we actually, it's just the reality of generating reviews.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, great to hear about them working so well for you, and it makes sense to double down on something where you see further potential as well. So it sounds like a solid plan for the year ahead.
Yeah, look, and the good thing with the reviews is that, and probably tying back to that Google My Business piece, is that the reviews actually push your Google My Business review higher up because the Google algorithm is actually, as we understand it, it's designed to serve content that's highly relevant and and works for customers. So if they can see that your business has been generating lots of reviews, lots of recent reviews and a really high score, you're basically telling Google that, hey, our business is a really good business and you should be serving us to more customers because people who have been dealing with us have been having a good experience. Yeah. That's irrespective of whatever industry you're in, right?
Yeah, that's right.
The frequency, the relevance, the rating of your review really dictates where you sit in that piece.
Yeah, definitely.
It goes hand in hand, which is good.
Awesome. Now, a question I like to ask everyone that I interview is how you organise your calendar, your inbox and your email, because I know everyone has a very personal approach to this. Some do it, self-proclaim to do it better than others. So I'm keen to understand what tools or ways you might use to manage these items.
Good question. We use Gmail at Motorama. So there's an option where you can actually split your inbox into 4 different. Well, I've got it split into 4 buckets. So I've kind of got all my main emails as my primary emails. I've then got a social tab, which might send notifications from Facebook or any of the social channels. I've then got like a promotions tab, which is like every 1,000 business that I might have signed up to for an EDM that's trying to tell me about some some special, and I've got an updates one, which is kind of like a bit similar to the other, and it just sends me updates. So having my inbox split into 4 is actually really good because you can just go through and in one hit go through your promotions and kind of just whack them all. There's 50 emails a day easily there, so you can just go through and scan them and just pretty much delete them in a couple of minutes rather than being interrupted in your main inbox by having all these promotional ones. So that's actually a really good tool within Gmail. And you can also pull emails that might fall into the wrong bucket initially, and you can pull it across into your primary. So it kind of goes, okay, so my email from Louisa is not a update or a promotion, it's actually a primary email. And you can pull it across, and then Gmail kind of tends to remember that it's in there.
Yes. Great.
So that's pretty cool. And the other one that's really handy in there is when you can just snooze emails as well. So you know that you've got to do something with that email, but you don't need to do it right now. So you can hit snooze, and it finishes out of your inbox until the such time that you've told it to come back.
Perfect. Yeah.
So that's a really cool feature as well. You can just snooze stuff.
Yeah, great. And what about tasks? Do you use any specific tools or methods for managing your to-do list?
I'm a bit old school and still have a notebook and just sort of update it every week, sort of every Monday. That's sort of the job, just to sort of roll through a list of what needs to be actioned for the week. And then come Friday, you see how close you got.
Yes, that's it, exactly.
With all the bushfires that came through during the time. But, it just helps, I guess, to realign your priorities and to just see what needs to be done.
Yeah, perfect. Well, thank you so much for being on the show today. If people want to get in touch with you, what's the best way for them to reach out?
Probably either through LinkedIn.
Yep.
We've got a profile on there, just under Simon Clarke, or I think my email's on there as well. It's simon.clarke, CLARKE @motorama.com.au.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing all those learnings today. I know if someone's looking to get ahead in Google or definitely in their reviews, they'll be able to take some great tips away from what you've shared. So thank you so much for being on the show.
No worries. Thanks for inviting me and happy to help.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thanks for listening. If you liked this episode, please remember to subscribe. My recommended action item from today's show is to look at Google My Business and see how you can use this tool more effectively. Please join me in the Interactive Minds Facebook group, where hundreds of marketers have discussions, answer questions, and I share the latest news I'm seeing in the industry. You can access today's show notes at interactiveminds.com/podcast. See you next week.